This is a production of Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker.
Oh, every once in a while, you know what we like to do here on Chalk Talk? We like to put the chalk down and do a little Uncle Chris story time. And that's what we're going to do today. And it is one of the most awesome stories I've heard behind the scenes in 25 years of working in journalism. And I feel very old. By the way, Chris, I saw a picture of my kids 10 years ago at the amusement park, and they're like yay tall. Now they're 17 and 19, and I cried a little bit. You know what I needed is a CBD treat. And that's what they do at crafttreats.com, and you can click on the link provided, and you will get 15% off full spectrum CBD treat. So it contains some minor cannabinoids that will take care of your pet when it comes to anxiety, when it comes to a little bit of pain, maybe arthritis, getting up there in age. That is Craft Treats. Go to crafttreats.com. And they've got some, I would call it farm to food dish, maybe as well. I mean, it's just fantastic all the way around. You're going to love Craft Treats. All right, Chris. So it's Uncle Chris story time. And because it's the summer, but this story, I mean, other than Alabama, getting upset by like a Louisiana Monroe, might be one of my favorite parts about talking to you. So I'm going to set the table. There's a guy that went on to the NFL that someone named Nick Saban was supposed to be scouting for Bill Belichick, who was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And how did that work out?
Well, it was interesting. It was a guy that I was familiar with that I scouted out of junior college when I was still coaching at LSU. So we're going to the University of Tennessee, and
so we know it's a ball. We know it's a ball.
It's a ball. Mm-hmm. And Saban and I. This was a spring workout prior to the draft. And this was a player. I can't go too far into it without telling you who it is because it kind of is germane to the story. But so we're at the workout, and this particular player was a very athletic defensive back and punt returner. And actually, Johnny Majors was still the coach at the time. And this player, I'll let the cat out of the bag, Dale Carter.
Oh, he was a good one. He was a good one.
Who, by the way, real quick, I divert, but when I scouted Dale Carter at Ellsworth Junior College in Ellsworth, Iowa, when I was coaching at LSU, and I saw Dale Carter return 5 punts for touchdowns in one game. But I digress. It's in junior college, still one game.
That's cool.
So Dale was obviously going to be a high pick. Dale Carter was as you guys know, big, athletic corner, played in the league for a long time. And he proceeded at the workout as Coach Majors was there, and it was a little different than was now a lot more run by agents, but it was run by the Tennessee coaching staff and with a couple of aides of a couple of scouts. And this player, Dale Carter, gets a punt, and Johnny Majors barks out some instructions about tucking it in, to which Dale Carter said, "Bleep you, Johnny," which was about the worst thing you could do as a player because it just all the coaches in there. And Saban was so turned off that, and this was near the end of the workout, but still had some more to go and some other players. And Saban said, "I'm leaving. I'm gone." He's, well, you can go, but I ain't leaving because I got more work to do on him and some other players. And I got the keys to the car, and I ain't leaving because I'm not going back and telling Bill Belichick, because I know how thorough he is. Well, what about, the other guy? And I say, yeah, we left early because Nick thought it was a good idea. So I stayed, and he went, and I knew I was good because I had the keys. So, I mean, I don't know where he was going because we were going to the next stop anyway with me, or he's going to do something else. Anyway, so that was kind of the unique story. And we finished. It's probably 20, 25 minutes more of Dale and some other guys that we wanted to work out that were down the road guys. One guy that we actually signed as a undrafted free agent. Anyway, so we get back into the draft room in the meeting room, and
with the Cleveland Browns.
With the Cleveland Browns, I'm sorry. And so, we go through the evaluation of him, and that doesn't just the workout, but everything in the film and all of that, and it's very, very detailed. And we get to the part about the workout and everything, and then the other player that I was talking about was a defensive back. That Nick was there looking at all the defensive backs. I was looking at everybody. So that's one of the reasons why he felt he was done, and that was that. I got more work to do. So we're there, and I'm getting all that. And he turns to Nick about, the other guy, and Nick said, well, I left after Carter did. And Belichick just rips into him so bad that I was just wanted to crawl into my seat. I needed some CBD treats because I was nervous as can be. And I was like, oh my God. But it just, and this was pretty early in Bill's tenure. And Saban was the right-hand man to Bill, but it was, I guess, his way of kind of making a point, because this was in front of everybody, that, you don't leave a workout early. You make sure all the work is done. And I guess really Nick did pretty much all he needed to do, but not all that I needed to do. But it was very, very uncomfortable. But it just goes to show you that everybody has things that they go through. I've told the story about, Parcells just ripping Belichick a new one. And that just happens to everybody. Things that go on. So yeah, that's kind of the story. And he didn't like Dale Carter. We that wasn't really a good draft at the top, because a lot of the guys, Quentin Coriat, Steve Ettman, Dale Carter was probably one of the better ones that had a really good career. But as Tennessee fans may know, he was a bit of a problem child. He's from America's Georgia, Covington, Georgia, went to Noonan High School, went to junior college, went to Ellsworth Junior College for a reason. And then he was kind of part of that. Remember that trend? They got the big Bernard Daphne they went to LA Valley,
Oh, yeah.
Chris Mims. This was a big run where Tennessee kind of missed on some recruiting in high school, and they really went hard junior college wise. And some of those guys paid off pretty well. Daphne was a pretty good tackle. Mims was a really good player. Of course, Carter was outstanding. But a lot of those, that's the story. And that was a long time ago, but it seems like just yesterday I get chills thinking about it.
That brings me to the junior college route, which is taking a back seat to now transfers. But junior college is still very important. But with junior college, I've seen Mississippi State build up a team. I think Wayne Madkins was a quarterback. I've seen Tennessee build up that team you talked about, but it doesn't seem sustainable. I'm curious if you think taking transfers is sustainable, or could you fall into the same trap of having too much churn on your roster? Is that a stretch of a question?
No. I think that for certain programs, I think what we're going to see is transfer portal. You mentioned the Mississippi schools. Well, you mentioned Mississippi State, Ole Miss, or programs that are not going to get a lot of 5-star guys. So the only way to get 5-star guys is to get guys that were maybe 4- and 5-star guys that maybe didn't pan out at a bigger school that they went to, or because you've got some of those schools that get nothing but 4- and 5-star guys. They just don't quite get a lot of playing time, so they move on. And or they get a player that just really develops at a lower level, meaning a conference that's not as good, and maybe they're not getting an offer from the elite programs in the SEC, but going to an Ole Miss or Mississippi State is, hey, or Kentucky is a viable option. So I think you're going to see that being more of what they're going to go. But to your point, there's going to be more and more churn. turnover quickly, and it'd be churning guys year in and year out. So what do you have to do? You have to be really adaptable with your system because players don't have as much time to learn your system. They're coming in. You've got to be real accommodating, so your styles have to really blend in. So, for example, Ole Miss is made to do that because Lane's system is more fitting around what a player can do, whereas Mike Leach's system is it's Mike's way, and he doesn't know any other way. So if you're coming in as a transfer, you better have some understanding of their style of what they're doing offensively anyway, and have to pick it up quickly because he's not adjusting to a player. That's not Mike Leach. So I think it's got a chance to be better and more sustainable because they're good players that can be had out of the transfer portal that maybe just they get caught up in the mix with other good players at other programs, plus they've maybe proven it on tape against really good programs. Whereas junior colleges, they're going to junior college for a reason.
Yeah.
They're academically, struggles, they got character problems, or they're really late developers. Usually not the third one. It's usually one of the two. So you're taking a chance. I think junior college, particularly if it's a 3-to-play-2 situation, is still viable, provided the guy can do the schoolwork. We've talked about one of the Tennessee guys at Tennessee had a junior college kid this past weekend, had some real academic issues. Has he gotten that corrected? If you have a guy like that and he's maybe a late bloomer, then absolutely it could still work. But I still think you have to be selective about it because I don't think there is plentiful. In junior college, you're really looking at maybe 50 to 75, 100 tops nationally that are really good gets. The others, you'd be better off using your scholarship on the similar type player that's at the high school level. But some of them just academically can't get there. Now, Kansas, Mississippi, California to some degree, but particularly population-wide, Kansas and Mississippi, they recruit to the junior college. They take the kid that maybe has academic problems, particularly in the state of Mississippi, where the educational system's poor, and they put them to the junior college system and get their grades up, get their study habits, they get things, they're really good players that they could play anywhere, but we'll put them in a junior college. A lot of the junior colleges are former Mississippi State or Ole Miss guys, and they put them in with the idea of we want them back in 2 years, and we're not going to give them to you if they don't come to us. I think Kansas State in the Mississippi schools probably have done the best job of that because they got tons of junior colleges, and the junior college leagues are much better than in most states.
Yeah, the guy you were referring to that I wanted to ask you about is Malik Benson, who visited Tennessee this past weekend. I want to get to him, but again, remind people to go to crafttreats.com, or you can click on the link that will be provided in this post, and or go to offthehooksports.com, and you can find the link there with Chris's Chalk Talk. But again, great for your pet's situational anxiety, and fantastic for the pet that maybe has a little bit of aches and pains because he's getting up there in pet years. Chris Malik Jackson, how good is he out of Hutchinson Community College? A wide receiver, number one prospect JUCO in the nation, right? And where's he going?
Well, Malik Benson is a speedster. He's a track guy. He had some academic issues. I know that LSU, UCLA, Texas Tech, a few others were really interested, but he was more of a track guy. He fell in love, kind of had to grow into football a little bit more. He's also a 25-plus long jump guy. I mean, so he is just an explosive athlete. He's been timed in a track setting in the 10-3, 10-3-5 range in the 100. Remarkable athlete. He's kind of a late comer to football. Doesn't have a lot of good film. He played in high school in a wing tee offense. So, I mean, you got a receiver in a wing tee offense. I mean, that's just like a decorative ornament. It's just nothing to see there really. But he's one of those guys that with that speed you can't teach, and he's become more and more of a football player. I think that I know Alabama's shown some interest. I don't know how strong. I know LSU has. I know Tennessee has. I know Oregon has. And a lot of what they've tried to sell is, hey, come and run track too. And the Oregon track program obviously is phenomenal. But he also liked DeAnthony Thomas, when DeAnthony Thomas was really getting it going for Oregon, and LSU's produced good receivers, Tennessee. And then, of course, Alabama's recruited a lot of good ones. So I think it's going to be one of those four. I don't know which one of those four at this point, but obviously you look at the success. Alabama's done the best job recently. Tennessee at receivers, really good. LSU's had some. So, as I said, I think that if you look at what he's looking at and how he wants to be developed, he feels he needs the development, and he feels like he's got the natural skills. But he's kind of a guy that doesn't have as much of a football in his background because he hadn't played it, and really excelled in the passing offense in high school for 4 years or anything like that. So he's kind of a late bloomer in that regard.
Go to LandryFootball.com to learn more about football than you ever thought you could. Go to OffTheHookSports.com for the very latest on the Vols. We've got a full wrap up of recruiting and the baseball season that just ended. So we would love for you to go there, and definitely go to Craft Treats. Make your pet and wallet happy with the Off the Hook discount. Click on that. It is attached. So have a fantastic day or morning or night whenever you're listening. He's Chris Landry. I'm Dave Hooker. This has been a production of Off the Hook Sports.